is no much space in C drive. Just a minute, guys. Recording, let it be, we'll see. Okay. So what we are trying to understand today's class is Jenkins. As we discussed, Jenkins is a continuous integration and continuous delivery tool. Jenkins is a continuous integration and continuous delivery tool. What it means? What is the continuous integration and continuous delivery tool? Why we use this Jenkins as a centralized tool? Okay, Jenkins is a framework. Jenkins is just a framework. It is not that intelligent by default. Jenkins is not that intelligent by default. So it will become intelligent by adding more plugins. By adding more plugins, we make that Jenkins as intelligent. What is that? What it means? That means every company nowadays, every tool, they are adding a plugin. They're adding a plugin to the Jenkins. That means if I say EC2, okay, they have prepared a tool. They prepared a plugin for the Jenkins. Okay, in that way, everyone trying to create a plugin for that. Let us say just I have already installed. Just let me show you that, and we will again go for the installation and all. Okay. Let us see in this particular one. Okay, this is the Jenkins dashboard. Actually, if you see, you all can see my screen, right? Is it my audio is visible and you all can see my screen? No issues, right? Okay, just let me show you. Okay, initially like how it works and all. Then again we'll go with the in detail how to install all those things. If you see my Jenkins point of view, okay, if you go to the manage Jenkins, there is a option called manage plugins. there is a manage plugins. Here you can add or remove or enable plugins that you want. If you see here, you see that there are n number of plugins are available in Jenkins. You can see this PowerShell plugin integrates with Windows PowerShell. NAND plugin. Okay, AND plugin. You know what is NAND? NAND is your .NET projects build point. Generally, we use AND for your Java projects, NAND for your .NET projects. Okay. In that way, everyone trying their to implement, okay, to implement um, their own plugin. They are everyone trying to implement their own plugin. Okay, they have come up with a AWS device. Okay. In that way, they are coming up. Okay, what is this? How can you use this? All those things they'll give you. If you require, you can see that. Okay. Test your app in a real-time devices in a AWS cloud. If you want, you can test this one. You can go with this. Okay. Soasta Cloud Test plugin. This plugin integrates Soasta Cloud Test and Soasta Cloud Test features into Jenkins. In that way, they will add n number of plugins in this particular Jenkins. Publish your Dropbox. Allows users to directly publish the artifacts to the Dropbox folders without you need to run the sync client or build servers. Publish over FTP. Publish over SSH. In that way, they are adding n number of plugins. These are all open source. Jenkins is the open source one. They are adding n number of plugins into the Jenkins world. Not only Jenkins, we have other tools like um, TeamCity, okay, and some other tools also there, like and Atlassian Bamboo is there. Atlassian Bamboo is the one of the tool for continuous integration point of view. But Jenkins is a more popular than any other one. So, okay, so we'll try to understand how can we install this. Okay, how can we work? If you can install it in a Unix platform as well as the Windows platform, wherever you want, you can install it. Okay, so that we'll start. Okay, in a Unix platform, we'll try to install. Okay, in a fast manner. Like let us install in one of the Ubuntu machine. Okay, let us start. Okay, you can do n number of tasks with the Jenkins. You can maintain backups. You can maintain backups. Maintenance tasks. Okay, like if you want to build your software, okay, n number of things you can do. Okay, okay, okay. There is a. Let me explain you what is build pipeline and all those things in a step-by-step manner. Okay, let us install on Ubuntu first. Why? Because on Windows already installed. Now what we'll do, how to install a Jenkins. To install Jenkins, we have to first make sure that Java installed on your environment. Okay, Java involved installed on your environment, and also make sure that you install the Jenkins over here. Okay, you can directly follow the Jenkins site to work with to install a Jenkins. Let me show you that. Okay, okay. Let us see. You want to install a Windows or Linux? Okay, Windows installation. Okay, step by step you can see that. Let us say before that. Uh, okay. Now, if you want to, go to the home first. What is Jenkins? You can see all these things. That is fine. Okay. If you want to download a Jenkins, there are two things we have to consider. One is LTS release and weekly release. LTS release is nothing but it is a long-term support. It's a stable one. Okay. Long-term support is nothing but releases are chosen every 12 weeks from the stream. Okay, it is a stable one. Okay, whereas weekly release is nothing but whatever the new changes are there. Okay, that will be available over here. So let us take the latest version. If you want to install a var, okay, just you can download this particular var file and you can install it. On which operating system you want to install? Okay, it is a on Docker you want to install on FreeBSD. Okay, either Ubuntu or Debian, or else so let us say Ubuntu and Ubuntu and Debian. Once you select this particular one, okay, if you select this particular one, okay, you can directly execute these commands. Okay, you can directly add the repository to your machine, and you can add following in your etc resources list, and then you can directly execute these commands to run the Jenkins. Okay, that is fine. Okay, we can install it, but the advantage with the Ubuntu is it will automatically install the Java as well in a Ubuntu platform with the Jenkins. Whereas in CentOS kind of thing, okay, you have to manually install. Let us say select a CentOS. Here you have to install Jenkins. Once you install Jenkins, you have to also install. Okay, make sure that you install the Java as well in this particular one. Okay, these are all the different RPMs they have given. That is fine, but okay. Okay, okay. Let us see first. They've changed. It is a version 2, Jenkins version 2. They recently released. They have changed a number of things in this. Okay. See that how can we install a Jenkins on Ubuntu? Let me take a putty session here, and we'll try to go through it. The IP address it is associated with is 56.103. Let me open that. Okay. Okay. Actually, how the Jenkins has evaluated, let me discuss a brief things on this. Initially in 2001, there is a company called Cruise Control. Okay, they have started actually the continuous integration process. But the most of the configuration files are in XML files where there is some issues with in a cruise control to build the jobs and all. Okay, in a continuous integration point of view, the dependency management there is some issue. Okay, in 2005 they started a project called in 2005 they started a project called Hudson. The project started called name called Hudson. Okay, the Hudson is started by the project is started by Hudson, that is generally supported by the Sun Microsystems. Okay, the Sun Microsystems they have supported in 2004. The project started in 2005. They have released first release. In 2009, Oracle is acquired Sun Microsystems. In that scenario, Sun Microsystem, it is a previously the Hudson is open source, the which is which is supported by the Sun Microsystem. But after Oracle acquired that, they don't want to make it as a open source project, so they made it as the Hudson made it as a commercial one. So after 2010, whoever running that project, they came out of that project and they started same functionality with a name called Jenkins. The okay in after the acquisition in 2010, the issues are started. The managing the Hudson. At that time, the project people, some of the people are started separate project as a Jenkins. It is an open source. N number of people are contributing that to develop the plugins, so it become more popular than Hudson. Hudson is also there in a market that is that Oracle is maintaining that Hudson. Okay, uh, now now they renamed the Hudson project as a Jenkins, but still Hudson is there. Okay, it is a commercial one by the Oracle. You can choose the Hudson as so. If you want, if you have a Oracle, if you have Oracle contribution, then you can go through that particular one. Okay, you can go through the Hudson as well. If you want to install, you can install Hudson as well. Okay, okay. So to down first, if you want to download, there are many ways to install the Jenkins. First, you can download the WAR file. You can let us see some different approaches to install a Jenkins. Okay. Let us say we'll take a different one. Okay. Okay. Let us see the home, and we'll see what is the difference between. Okay. What is the difference between these two things? Okay. If we say these are every week they are releasing the new version, they are maintaining in a weekly release kind of thing. It is the latest release. You can download whichever the operating system package you require. Whatever the package you require, you can download it. Those you can download and you can install it. Okay. Now, let us use some. Okay. Okay. Let us do one thing. First, let us understand first whether we have a Java installed or not on my particular system. Okay. It is Java is installed already. Java is installed already. So if Java 8 is recommended, Also you can use Java 7 as well without any issues. Okay. 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 If you want to run the bar file, what you have to run is, okay, Java. You downloaded one jar file, right? -jar. Okay. jenkins.bar. Okay, whatever the file you have downloaded, you can run this particular command. But it is not that required. So what we'll do, instead of downloading the package and next you are installing, okay, first we'll try to directly execute those commands. Okay. Let us do one thing, this one. Okay, let us go with this particular one, installations. Okay, installing on Unix is a very straightforward. Okay, installing on Unix is very straightforward. Once it is installed, I'll give you the best practices and also some of the important things in Jenkins. What are the prerequisites to install it, to work with the Jenkins? We try to understand in a while. Okay. Once we configure this, and also make sure that you added the Jenkins repository to your machine. Just go through, execute a step-by-step process. That's all. Okay. App-get update and install. Once you added your package to your machine, what we are doing, we are adding the key first. Second, we are adding the binary version, okay, to your local repository. The Jenkins repository you are adding to your local repository. Once you update the things, you are ready to go with. Okay. If you want to install Jenkins, you can install it. That is fine. Okay, let us see this. It is done. Meanwhile, we'll try to understand what are the prerequisites to that particular one. Okay. It is not there. Let us see. Yeah, Jenkins best practices. Okay. Make sure that whenever you have a Jenkins environment, someone asks you what generally you do, or what is the best practices to follow with Jenkins. You can say these many things. Okay, let us understand a step-by-step procedure, and then we will implement those things in our environment. Okay, first step they are saying it as always secure Jenkins. What is always secure Jenkins? Let us say you installed a Jenkins. Okay, we'll try to install a Jenkins now. Then we'll try to see what is the secure Jenkins. Okay, I'm installing a Jenkins now. If I say apt-get install Jenkins, directly it will go to the repository and download the package to install it. Okay, let it run. Okay. Okay. The previously we used to directly install the Jenkins without any password or anything. Okay, nowadays Jenkins 2, they are giving you an administrator password to work with the Jenkins. If you want to work with the Jenkins, we need to have an okay, uh, we need to have a one administrator password. Okay, while installing the Jenkins, it will give you an administrator password. Let us see that. Okay. Okay, it will give you an administrator password here. Okay, error while uncoded while processing. Let us see why it is failed. Okay, let us see service. Okay, the service is not running. Let us start this. Okay, the continuous integration server is Jenkins is started. You can check the status. Now it is running. Okay, on port number this particular. Make sure that Jenkins will use a port number 8080 by default. Let me open that. 192.168.56.103 is my IP address actually. On 8080 it will use the default port number as 8080, so that it will connect to that particular server on port number 8080, so that it should directly open the Jenkins server. It should open the Jenkins server. Okay. Okay. Now you see that previously we generally we don't get this particular in the previous Jenkins. Directly it used to open the Jenkins server. Okay. Now they have started with a one administrator password over here. Okay. They are saying that the one administrator password over here. If you why, because they don't want to uh, if without any password, if you log in, you can change whatever the jobs you want. Okay, what you can create, you can delete, or whatever the things you want to do, you can do it. To avoid those things, okay, you have to secure your Jenkins. Okay, we'll see that how we can secure also. Okay, to ensure Jenkins is securely set up by the administrator, the password has been written in the log file. Okay, if you don't, if you can see, if you log file, if you concentrate, if you open, if you see that log file carefully, you can see that entire details over there. Okay, but it is not that required, or else you can see in this particular path you can find that administrator password. Okay, and you can paste over here. Let me open that more. Okay, this is the password. If you copy and paste, okay, that password over here, and you can click on continue. So that, okay, do you want to Chrome to save this password? Okay, let it save. Now you are ready to work with the Jenkins now. We copied the password and it is now install the suggested plugins and select the plugins to install. So in a previous Jenkins, by default, which the required plugins are installed by default. In this scenario, in this particular Jenkins 2 version, it is asking us to, okay, which plugins you required. Okay, which plugins you require. Okay, you can customize the Jenkins, or you can go with the install the suggested plugins. Okay, okay, let us, okay, let us do here. Okay, okay, let us see. Okay, okay, let us see. We'll go with some suggested plugins, or else if you have to do manually all the plugins whichever you require. Okay, let us see. Okay, we'll say that, okay, get we'll say that install the suggested plugins. Okay, you can see that whatever the suggested plugins are there, you can see all these things. Okay, it is installing ant plugin, it's installing git plugin, it is installing mailer, it is installing ssh slaves, github organization. Okay, workspace cleanup. These are all the default suggested plugins. Okay, popular one is pipeline, git, okay, github plugin, gradle plugin, that is one of the ant marvin gradle. Okay, okay, that is one of the other directory called data directory. Okay, the data directory will store, okay, all the your jobs information. You can see that logs what is happening over here. It doesn't have a database, so that it will maintain all the things in a data directory. Okay, the configuration files, build information, and all these things. So okay, okay, let us see that. Okay, let us see now. Okay, once it is installed, okay, it will by default, the Windows home directory is m Windows home directory in the Jenkins is Jenkins home directory is m2 underscore Jenkins. Let me show you that. Okay, wherever your Jenkins is installed, actually go to properties and you can advanced system settings, environment variables, and underscore home comes back, and to underscore home. Generally, okay, I've not added the path into the environment variables. Fine. Okay, let us see that in SC, um, program files x86 Jenkins. This is my Windows directory actually. In a Windows, I've installed the previous version. There you can see a directory structure, right? In a Jenkins, there is a directory structure. You don't find any database or Jenkins, but all the configuration details will kept in a directory called, okay, Jenkins directory. In that you can see that, in that you can see all your jobs, logs, node details, plugins. Okay, apart from that, you can see that, okay, all your configurations in a XML files. Your configurations in a XML files. You can see that this is the one XML file. This is one configuration settings configuration file. Okay, if you want to see any backups.configuration file, these are all configuration files kept in a XML format. Okay, let us see whether it is installation is done or not. Still the still some of the plugins are installing, git plugin and all. So what you can understand here is the plugins are not defaultly installed, all the plugins, but based on the requirements, you can add more plugins and make Jenkins as a powerful. Okay, I'll explain you in a Jenkins. If you see any Unix environment, if someone asks you what is the default, what is the home directory of the Jenkins home directory is var lib Jenkins in a Unix environment. Okay, var lib Jenkins. This is the home directory for your Unix environment. Home directory of the Jenkins in a Unix environment is var lib Jenkins. In each and every folder here, you can find a configuration file called config.xml in each and every node. Okay. If you see here, there is some folders called jobs. So in these jobs, whatever you prepared a project, all the projects will kept as a job. Okay, you can see in the jobs folder. Now you go to the jobs folder, ls. We don't have any jobs as of now. Okay. In the same way, you can see that logs, nodes, plugins, all those things we can see. Okay, once we create a job, okay, then we'll see step by step. Now it is asking in a previously, it doesn't ask any username and password. Directly it goes to the jobs folder, the jobs directory, okay, and you can create a job, okay, without having even the basic privileges. The problem with that is anyone can, if they know the server name with the port number 8080, they can log into that server and they can log into the Jenkins dashboard and they can do whatever they want. To avoid that, in a Jenkins 2, they have come up with a basic authentication kind of thing. Okay. Now let us give a username and password details. Okay, let's say okay Raghu. Okay, password is I suggest welcome at the rate 123. So that at the rate 123. Okay. I can say Raghu and email address is this particular one. Okay. These are the details I have given and save and finish. So you try to understand Raghu is a user in an administrator directory, not a admin. Okay, you can log in with admin itself, or else you can admin your password. I have given the password, right? A long length password. You can see that here you are using a username called Raghu. He is in a administrator directory, administrator group. Not Raghu is not a directly administrator. Now this is the dashboard you can see in the Jenkins whenever you log in. Okay, this is the directory you can see whenever you log in into a system. Okay, now if you want to create a new project, just click on new item. Okay, you click on new item and you can select whichever the project you want and you can start doing the things. Okay, that is fine. We'll see in a Windows level the directory structure, okay, okay, which is already there. Let us see the jobs folder. These are all the jobs we have in a Windows. In a Windows we have these many jobs: Marvin Jenkins, First, Marvin Pro. These are all the different jobs I have created in my Windows level. Okay, if you see that, suppose let us say Marvin project, you can have the config.xml. The config.xml is nothing but your project, okay, your project configurations. What the XML file you know already. Let me close it and open in a Notepad++ so that we can easily understand that. Okay. See that in the config.xml, what they are doing is the project URL is, okay, go and get this particular project over here, and what are the classes you want to use, properties. I want to use Git plugin, GitHub. Then that way say, okay, I'm giving all these things in an XML format. But no need to understand this XML format. We can go and suppose let me open this particular one in my Windows environment. My Windows environment, already in my Windows machine I've installed Jenkins. Let me open that. A local host I use. Why? Because it is on my machine, it is installed. One of the username, this one. Okay, fine. See this Marvin Jenkins, this is one of my project, what I shown you in a jobs folder. In a jobs folder, you can see that workspace, recent changes, last test results, and latest test results kind of thing. You can see that same folder over here. Workspace, modules, bills, last table, last successful. You can see all these things over in this particular project. Each and every project. Each and every project. You can see for particular project. You can see different folder in a jobs folder. Okay. You can see the different user set at a different users level. Now, now let us understand some other things over here. You can create your own name or any other thing. Okay. If you want to go out also, let me close this one, jenkins1. I don't want to explain your Windows level. Let me close that, and we'll go with the Ubuntu level. Just we installed it. If you want to log out, you can log out. Okay. Most of the time for configuration, we work with a manage Jenkins. Okay. Okay. It is a one of the administrator portal you can see. Okay. Manage Jenkins. You click on this particular manage Jenkins. Okay. Most of the your scenarios you do, you can see over here. Okay. You can see the default configurations over here. Okay. You can see that most of the default configuration details you can see over here. Okay, the configuration system, the configure the system. If you see the configure system, okay, mm, let us see first. Let us see the configure global security. Okay, let us see that configure. Okay, if you see the configure global security, what I am doing, first one, we are trying to understand the global security. If we see that configure global security first, it has enabled the security first of all, fine, and it is using the Jenkins own user database. We are using our own database. Just we created a Rago user over there. We manually created the user. Okay, we have not taken from any other one. Not only this one, you can integrate with your different user databases like LDAP or else Unix US user and group database details. Okay, you can you can do different things over there. Okay, here I'm using my own. If you want to use LDAP, yes, you can do it. Okay, in the security options, you can see all these details. Okay, what the users are authenticated, how they authenticate. These are the things you can specify. See, okay, you can see that there is some other options called authorization. Okay, suppose, okay, I logged in here fine with the one username, but the user can do once he logged in, he can do anything. Whatever he want to do in the system, they can do anything whatever he want. Suppose it is a production environment, it is not allowed to everyone can do anything, right? We will not allow everyone to open my Jenkins environment and do changes according to their requirement, right? So if you allow anonymous read access, they can only read. Okay, whoever logged in, they'll get a read access. Or else you can also maintain the matrix-based security. What is the matrix-based security? The matrix-based security is nothing but you can give very detailed you can give very detailed level of the security. Let us say a matrix-based security. You can say let us add a user called Raghu. Already we have for this particular user. What do you want to allow? You want to give an administrator configurations, configure updates, read, writes. In this way, there are n number of options you have. You want to job level. You want to build config. You want to give a build permission, cancel permission, configure permissions, create and delete, discover. These many permissions you want to give. What exactly you want to give the user level permissions? Yes, you can give it. That is nothing but a matrix based permissions. Okay, let us not jump into that one as of now. But what is the first recommendation we have learned in a okay, in a Jenkins level? That is always secure a Jenkins. The first recommendation is always secure Jenkins. That means you give a proper permissions to proper users, so that okay you maintain the username and password, okay, and also give a proper permissions to that particular user, so that your Jenkins will be secure. Okay, the best practices around authenticating users and efforting access control Jenkins instance. In the default configuration, Jenkins does not perform any security checks. This means any person can access the website and execute the okay, arbitrary code in a Jenkins master. So that is a dangerous one. So what we do, we'll maintain certificates, passwords, private data kind of thing to avoid that scenario. Okay. Now next thing is they are saying that in larger systems don't build on the master. What it means? Don't build on masters. What it means? Suppose you have a very large environment. You have a very large environment. At that scenario, if you run all your projects on a master server itself, that will be overloaded. That will be overloaded. To avoid that scenario, what they are doing is they are building a slave servers. On the slave servers, okay, they are building a slave servers. On the slave servers, you can run these jobs instead of running on a master. Okay. With that, you can reduce the burden on the Jenkins. Okay, if what they are giving, you will see. If you have a more complex security setup that allows more users to only configure jobs but not administrate Jenkins, you need to prevent them from the building on master mode. Otherwise, they have under provide access of Jenkins home directory. You can do this setting the executor count as 0. Instead, you make sure that jobs are enslaved. Okay, you can do okay to avoid the Jenkins configuration on master. To secure this one also you can do it, or else you can reduce the burden on a master. Yes, you can also create a Jenkins slaves. Two things. How to create a Jenkins slave we'll learn in our course, and we'll prepare a Jenkins slave direct slave server also, and we'll run our projects over there. Okay, one of the important thing is you back up your Jenkins home directory regularly. Backup Jenkins home directory in a regular intervals. What is a Jenkins home directory? As we discussed, a Jenkins home directory is this particular one, where lib Jenkins. In a Unix is this one. In a Windows, what is the home directory of the Windows? A Windows home directory is jenkins underscore home. Okay, you have to add this jenkins underscore home in your environment. In your Jenkins in your environment variable, you have to add jenkins underscore home, whatever the path you have. Whatever the path you have, you have to add it. That path, if you take a regular intervals backups, what happens? If your master server disasters happen, if something went wrong, okay, at that time you can recover your jobs, your projects, your all the details with the backups. Is that clear? If you have a backup of this particular folder, at any point of time you can restore it. Okay, how to take a backup? Yes, we have some plugins. I'll show you how to take a backup of those. We'll try to install some plugins and we can take a backup. That we'll see that. Okay, we'll see these three scenarios first, then we'll go forward. Okay. Okay. Now we can come out of the Jenkins dashboard. Okay, there is the okay. Let me open the where is my Jenkins configuration? Okay, okay, just let it be. I don't want to change anything as of now. Now let me save this. Okay, we'll come across this one again. Okay, okay. Missing the overall read permission. What happened? Okay, it is saying that access is denied. Raguke is missing the overall read permissions. Okay, we have given some, we have changed some things and it is not allowing us to read the things. Okay, at that particular time, you have a options. You have an option, okay, to work with it. Now let us say, if you go to the users directory, you can edit directly here also. You can say that there is a user called Raghu K. Right, we have created a user called Raghu K. We'll go into that particular directory and you can see that there is a config.xml. Let me open that. Okay, here you can see the changes, whatever. Okay, you see that full name is Raghu and the API token is this one. Okay, fine. Jenkins security. Okay. Okay, domain, class, all this is fine. Now, file properties, person. Okay. let me edit some things over here for Raghu. Mm, See that wherever the false is there, if you make it as a true, this so the Raghu can do anything. But instead of that, what I am doing is I am going out of this particular one, and we'll see. Okay, we'll open the config.xml. You see that security is true, right? Okay, so what I'll say, if I say false over here, without any authentication, okay, you can directly log into that particular Jenkins. Okay, so that you can also change here also, like whatever you want. Okay, you can see all the details over here. What is the Jenkins version which is using? Okay, number of executors is nothing but how many jobs you want to run in a single point of time. Okay, if you want to have a disable sign up, yes, you can. If you see that, you can disable it, and you can see that disable remember me is false. Okay, workspace directory, whatever you are executing, where you want to store, in a Jenkins home directory there will be a folder called workspace, in that it is storing. What is the build directory? In the item underscore build directory, wherever the item underscore full name is there, okay, the root directory is there, I want to store the build directory. In this way you can maintain the different things, that is fine. But what I want to do as of now, the repo user got a permissions list. Let me come out of this and will log in as a administrator. Log out and we'll search with administrator, and password generally will store in this particular location. We have taken a set license one, right? Okay. Okay. So we'll take this particular one as a password and we'll log in with the administrator. Invalid login. Please try it. Okay. You can see that all the secrets will be stored here. Store secrets is nothing but, okay, a secret is nothing but your passwords. Secrets is nothing but your passwords. Okay. Okay. We'll search with admin. And then the password is Okay, let me do one thing. Let me remove that Raghu user over here. cd dot. Okay, we don't have any user now, so okay, we'll do one thing. We'll try to remove all the configuration settings. Like, I don't require even credentials. To do that, what I'm doing is vi config.xml. There I'm saying, instead of true, I say false, user security. If I say user security as false, okay, so without any password, I can able to log in that machine. Okay, what I'll do, I'll service Jenkins restart. Once I change some settings over there, I started my Jenkins service, and then I'll try to log in again. So as I changed in the config.xml, it should go and work with, you can directly go to the Jenkins machine. Okay, see that it is again working for, it is going for your previous scenario. Without any password, it is directly open to your machine, right? Here you can do whatever you want. As I'm not any user, regular user now, I'm not a regular user, still I can do all the things whatever I want. Okay. I can do whatever I want. If you want to create a new user, yes, you can create a new user, okay, and you can work this. Okay, let us say manage Jenkins global config security. If you want to use local, let us start with a step by step again. Okay, I want to enable the security first. To enable the security, I click on enable security. Sometimes you may not use the new version of the Jenkins. If they are using the old version of the Jenkins, you have to say enable security. There you want to use your local database. Yes, you can use a local database. Okay, whenever I say local own database, okay, immediately you have to create a user. Now I say use Jenkins user database. Immediately it is asking us to create a user. Okay, without any, just I said that you use local database, but I don't have any users as of now, so that it is asking us to create a users. Okay, password, I say just welcome. Okay, you can give, but it is not a mandatory field. Okay, that is a invalid email address. Okay. So in this fashion, you can create a user. That is fine. You can also create a Jenkins on a Docker. You can also create a Jenkins on a Docker. Okay, how can we install Jenkins on a Docker? Install Jenkins on Docker. You know that if you just pull Docker pull Jenkins, it will pull that Docker image on your machine. Okay, you can just say that Docker pull Jenkins, so that it will pull that Docker image on your container. Let us say, do you have installed Docker on machine? Yes, Docker installed. If I want to work with a Docker to be installed, just I can say, okay, Docker pull Jenkins. Okay. If I do this, it will pull the Jenkins onto the image on your machine. I think all of you know the Docker, right? What is Docker pull and all? So it will pull that image from the Docker hub to your machine, and that Docker is ready to use. Okay. See that most of the scenarios. Okay, okay, if you want to run Docker on any port, okay, you can say that. Okay, if you want to run Docker, okay, just you can say Docker run -d. What is -d and -p? Can anyone tell me what is that? What is these two options it is saying? What those are two? Can anyone? Are you there? Can you hear me? What is Docker -d-p options it is saying? As a daemon mode and a port number, I want to use this particular port number. Okay, this particular port number and this particular one. Okay, okay, you can just run this particular one. It will be ready on your machine to work with the Jenkins. Okay, okay, these many layers are there. Okay, it is taking too much of time. Okay, let us not jump into that. It is taking a lot of time. Okay, everything is something around 130 MB, and okay, let it be. You can install Docker on a you can install Jenkins on a Docker machine also. Okay, okay. Suppose it is a master is running on a physical machine, and you want to run some jobs on a Docker, like I can say, um, I can say only were some particular jobs, some application, some jobs I want to run on, okay, some other Docker containers. At that time you can see that. Okay, you'll see that Docker images. Okay, you can see that Jenkins latest is running. Okay, so what I can do, already my port number 8080 on my physical machine using, right, for Jenkins. So what I am doing, I am using some other port 49001 something, but Jenkins by default it will run on port number 8080. So that I want to, whenever I want to connect this particular port number, it should go and connect to this one. Okay, whichever the port you want to use, you can use it. Okay, if it is AWS, make sure that this particular port number is enabled. Okay, now what we'll do, we'll say okay, the same IP address, okay, 192.168.56.103, instead of port number 8080, what port number I have to use to open a Docker container level? What is the port number I have to use at a Docker container level? The port number which I have given over here, that is the port number is 49001, right? If I open this one, which container it is opening? Okay, 192.168.56.103 on port number this. Yes, it is running. Let us check whether it is running or not. Docker ps. Oh, Okay, instead of this way, okay, what is -v option it is saying? Okay, let us do one thing. In this way we'll run docker run -idt. Then I say I don't require an okay, let it be. Then I say port number is this particular one is fine. Then I say I don't require my home directory to be mounted over there. I don't require a volume. I can say um, Jenkins. The image name is Jenkins. Then slash bin slash bash. Okay, now I say docker ps. Okay, it is running. So ideally the port number 49001, when I run it, it will connect on port number 8080 of the Jenkins one. Let us see that. Let us do one more thing. Okay. Okay. It should open. Let me check some other sites. Why it is not opening? Okay. Let us see that. Okay, Docker pull Jenkins. It will pull that image that we have seen that. Okay, you can write a Docker file also to install a Jenkins. Docker file it automatically downloads and install the Jenkins. That is fine. You can use different port configurations over here. You can see that Docker run port number 8080. Something is coming on port number 8080. Okay, redirect to the port number 8080. Okay, then on Jenkins. Okay, this will store the workspace in a where all the Jenkins data lives on there. including plugin configuration you provide the persistent volume. Okay, if you want to maintain a persistent volume, yes, you can do this. But here in this scenario, I already used a port number 8080, so that I don't want to use that. Okay, so what I'll use 8082 kind of thing we'll use, and we'll see. Okay, cannot write to var lib wrong volume permissions. I don't want to maintain my volume details as of now. I think you know how to maintain the volume details. It should give the authentication password as we get in a previous scenario. Okay. Now we'll say 8082 over here. It should redirect to get the password. Okay, see that. Okay, here we got a password now. Okay, this password we have to use in a, see that, in a same regular way. Either it may be a Docker or it may be on your physical machine. Okay, it is asking us to give the password over here. It is preparing the local environment. Once it is prepared, you are ready to give that. So when by default Docker uses port number 8080, so whatever you are getting on my physical machine, I'm redirected to port 8082. Whichever coming on port number 8082, I want to redirect to port number 8080. On a Docker level, whatever we have in what Jenkins machine. Okay, it may take some time. So just try to install today Jenkins on a Docker level or wherever it is, and tomorrow we'll see. We'll try to configure some jobs and we'll deploy some into a Apache Jenkins, and we'll also see the continuous build pipelines and okay, what are the best practices. Those things we'll try to finish those things tomorrow. Okay. And I'll post you interview questions and project works on Jenkins today in an interview folder kind of thing. Check the folder, interview folder, and you can find the interview questions as well as the project work on Jenkins. Okay, try to do that. Okay, that the project work is on AWS with the Jenkins today, and try to will integrate two different things like. Okay, like if you want to AWS level, you want to start a server. How can we do with the Jenkins? Okay, how we can write a script kind of thing. That kind of project I'll share. Try to practice that. Okay. Bye for now. See you tomorrow. Whatever the missed class, I'll try to upload today. By end of the day, you can see that. Bye. Which SSH key, Anvesh? You can. I'll unmute you and you can ask me if you have any issues.
Hi Raghu.
Hi Anvesh. Tell me.
Yeah, actually, one of my friends is working on DevOps. They asked for a SSH key for the desktop. So I just thought to ask you like how to retrieve that key from the desktop. Do you have any idea like how to retrieve that?
SSH key from the desktop?
Yeah, from desktop system.
Is that which operating system it is?
That is Ubuntu for Ubuntu.
Okay, you can run SSH-keygen. Okay, you can get it.
So can you please type that so that I can see?
Yeah, I'll show you that one. Okay, you go and run a command on a Unix environment.
Okay.
Let it just Docker still running. Okay, let me take a duplicate set one. Okay. Okay. Generally, what you do, if you want to have a passwordless authentication on any other machine, let us say you have two machines, you want to have a passwordless authentication. Generally, you have an SSH keys /etc /SSH. Okay. Okay, let it be. You can run a command called ssh-keygen. Okay, it will generate an SSH key that will be stored in your root.ssh folder. Okay, let me do that. Okay, create a directory in root ssh directory. As of now, a the root user doesn't have an SSH key, so that it doesn't have the folder in SSH folder. Now it has created a .root. What is the home directory of the root? /root. In the /root, it has created a .ssh folder. Okay, then okay, what is the okay? Enter the prefix again. Like whatever you want, you can give some details. But you see the user RSA and DSA keys. What is RSA and DSA keys? The RSA and DSA keys are key and lock kind of thing. Okay, key and lock kind of thing. If you know the key, that like generally how we log in with AWS, we log in with a EC2 user key, right? We log in with EC2 user key. Okay, the public key, okay, and private key. The public key is maintained by Amazon. The private key we can download. That with that private key we can connect. In the same way, if you want to connect this machine now, if you want to connect with this machine now, you can use a root passport user, or else you can go to the /root /.ssh. You have a id underscore that RSA, more id underscore RSA. You just get this particular key. Okay, you get this particular key, and you can log in without any username and password as a root user. Sometimes, okay, we'll do this task tomorrow's class, okay, by creating a Jenkins user. Let us say by default when you install Jenkins on your machine, it will install a username called Jenkins, more /etc/password. Okay, it will create a username called Jenkins. Okay, we try to deploy some code, okay, from the Jenkins machine to one of the web servers. It may be a number of web servers in a single point of time. How can we deploy it? Generally, Jenkins uses username called Jenkins, but in your web servers you don't have a Jenkins username. At that time, okay, we'll try to create a SSH key. And also one more important thing, when job is running, we cannot give a username over there and password. How can we automate it? Tomorrow's class we'll see that how can we generate an SSH key, and how can we copy that, and how can we have it without the passwordless authentication. As of now, how can we generate an SSH key? You can run a command called ssh-keygen. It will generate your public and private key. Now, if you want to copy that into any of the machine, you can say that ssh copy gen. That we can see in tomorrow's class. How can we copy it? But this key will be locked.
Okay, Raghu, thank you.
You're welcome. Tomorrow we'll see that scenario. How can we authenticate?
Yeah. Okay.
Bye. Try to install today all of you Jenkins. We'll see some scenarios tomorrow.